Welcome back to Sports 101 here on Sports Radio 1450 and on the web at sportsradio1450.com. 529-1450 is our phone number. A lot of good stuff this morning. Let's talk a little NFL preseason. I know the preseason isn't too exciting. I believe the Rams have a home game today, though, in St. Louis against Tennessee. I believe our Niners play as well, Eric, today. But
is that right?
Preseason. You know, I don't know if you take a whole lot of stock in the preseason. It is fun, though, to see some of the new faces out there. I've enjoyed seeing some of the young quarterbacks, Cam Newton and Adam Locker, and some of the other ones get out there and get some reps.
It's just good to see football. You know, when we went through an off season of wondering if we were even going to get it back, it's just good to see, you know. And if you catch it early enough, you'll see some starters out there, and it's all right. And Mark and I were talking before the show started, and, you know, like, I kind of have it on at my house in the background. I'm not watching it intently. We're both kind of on the same page there. I mean, we have it on. We're paying attention. And that's kind of what the preseason's for. It's to give you a little taste. It's an appetizer.
And if you're into fantasy football, oh, by the way, Fantasy Football 101 starts tomorrow, Sunday, 9 to 11, shameless plug. But if you're into fantasy football, you watch the preseason games to see, if for nothing else, injury purposes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, let's go to the phone lines, boys. We got a caller. Caller, you're on Sports 101. Go ahead.
How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Great. Well, Mark kind of stole my thunder a little bit.
He does that all the time.
I've got my draft next Saturday, and we always get together and do a little party, so to speak. To draw, to get our picks. But I'm in the 12 spot, and I'm happy to be there.
Sure.
Really, truthfully. It's a real crapshoot to see who would fall my way, when you're doing 12 and 13 on the wraparound.
Oh, yeah.
I'm eyeballing Rashard Mendenhall and Alvin Johnson. What do you guys think of that?
Absolutely.
I love that.
You know, when you were telling me pick 12, the first guy that got in my mind, one was Calvin Johnson, then I was thinking of running backs, and Mendenhall should be there. I think Mendenhall Johnson would be a wonderful start to your draft.
Well, I'm hoping it falls that way. We've got a couple of real wild cards that are real homers that you just never know.
See, you love those guys, don't you?
Those guys.
Those are great guys to have.
You know, one guy, the one homer, he's in the number one spot, so he's definitely not taking McFadden. He's a Raider fan. He won't be taking McFadden with the number one pick.
I would hope not.
Maybe with his number 2. McFadden will be all right.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with the 12 spot.
I don't
know how you guys feel about that, but I like having back-to-back.
Yeah. Who's he taking, though? Who's going number 1 in your draft, do you think?
You know, he keeps telling me he's pretty solid on AP, so...
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I would do.
We'll see. I think
we can't argue with
that. He's up with McNappy and, behind center. I think his values should be pretty stable. But, I would have, I would think real hard about Jamal Charles in the top 2 or 3 because I think he's going to blow up.
You see, we are, and obviously we have 2 hours tomorrow to talk fantasy, and that's what we're going to do from 9 to 11 here on Sports Radio 1450. Also on sportsradio1450.com.
Definitely call back.
Be sure to, and not just you, but everyone out there, make sure to follow us on Facebook, become a fan.
We'll have Eric's opinion of Mr. Charles, which he already told me.
And listen, I like Jamal Charles just fine, but here's what I can't figure out, Colin,
number 1
about Jamal Charles is everyone's telling me after last year where Castle was a decent play, Dwayne Bowe was a top 5 receiver, everyone's telling me after what I saw last season to lay off of these guys because Kansas City's schedule is murder this year, and the Chiefs are going to come back down to earth. But then on the other hand, I'm hearing from the same people, yeah, but Jamal Charles is like a top 3 running back. And I'm trying to figure out how the Chiefs are going to run the ball all over the opposition if they're getting rolled every game like they're supposed to be. So, to me, Jamal Charles isn't top 3, probably not even top 5. He's top 10.
Jamal Charles is a top 3 talent.
Yes.
But in fantasy,
agreed.
He's not because the reason you gave.
The situation.
They've got the absolute toughest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's going to keep, in my opinion, Charles from being a top 3 back. He has the ability. But, boy, I'm not. If I have an early pick, I'm not going to take Jamal Charles.
I'm telling you, let somebody else reach for him early and get Ray Rice. Get somebody like that is definitely going to come in, be a feature back, going to catch balls out of the backfield, and isn't going to post you a 6 or a 7 in the point column.
Geez, how are we ever going to do 2 hours every Sunday?
I don't know.
It's going to be pretty easy.
I have a feeling it's going to be 2 hours and 15 minutes every Sunday because we're going to finish our Sports 101 show with fantasy. It's hard to not.
It starts tomorrow, Fantasy Football 101 right here on Sports Radio 1450, 9